Hey everybody, my name is Chris Lewellen, and I am the Tippah County Development Foundation Director. I'm a lifelong resident of Tippah County, and I'm happy to call Tippah County my home. We at the Development Foundation know that we must ensure that Tippah County offers a wide variety of ways for our citizens to make a good living and have a great quality of life here. We know that we must move Tippah County forward into a future that causes our high school graduates to want to make Tippah County their home and to know that they can have a good life here. We believe that the only way for Tippah County to move forward is for us to move forward together. It will take all of us to ensure that our children and our children's children have a great place to call home in Tippah County. In this series of interviews, released weekly this fall of 2024, you'll hear from some incredible people living in Tippah County. Some of these folks never left home, some left for a while and came back, and some moved here as adults. We wanted to let you hear their reasons for choosing Tippah County as their home and their hopes for the future of Tippah County. The interviewer is Mr. Austin Hamilton, a lifetime citizen of Tippah County. Austin currently serves as the career coach for Ripley High School and served last year as the Walnut High School career coach. We thought he would be the perfect person to talk to our group about their hopes and dreams for their hometown. If you enjoyed this interview, please check back weekly to listen to each new interview and share them with a friend. Let's move forward together and make Tippah County the best that it can be.
Hey, I'm Austin Hamilton, career coach at Ripley High School, again back with you. This will be the fourth interview of our 10-part series of why you chose Tippah County. And today we have the privilege of hearing from my brother, Quentin Ratliff. Man, it's great to have you here today. I've known, as we said offline, I've known you from afar, known you from a distance, known some of your family members, but always heard really good things about you, and I've never felt obligated to stroke anybody's ego, so your reputation precedes you. But with that being said, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, career-wise.
Okay, career-wise. Right now, I'm currently employed with Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Mississippi. It's located in Blue Springs.
Okay.
I've been there currently 13 years.
Okay.
I started out as just a regular old team member.
Oh, awesome.
And I worked my way up to team leader. And within the next year or so, I hope to become a group leader and maybe one day become a part of the management team.
Oh, wow. I'm sure you'll have no problem doing that. So, but with that being said, what did you work prior to? So you've been at Toyota 13 years.
Yes.
And how old are you now? 40?
I'm 42.
42 years old. So you've been there 13 years. Have you always been in advanced manufacturing?
Yes, I've been in manufacturing my whole life.
Okay.
My first manufacturing job actually was woodcraft.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
back
awesome.
in woodcraft days.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I left woodcraft when I went out of business. Then I was employed by a place called Industrial Timber.
Yeah, Industrial Timbers. Yeah, out on Industrial Park Road.
Yes, and then I left there and I went to Ashley Furniture.
Okay.
And after I left Ashley Furniture, that's when I moved to Toyota.
Okay, so pretty much across the spectrum, but all advanced manufacturing.
Yes.
So I think we talked a little bit off air. There's kind of three big buckets we're trying to capture, I guess you would say, is those who grew up here, stayed here, those who grew up here, maybe left for a period and came back, and those who weren't from here at all and then moved here for whatever reason and chose to call Tippah County home. So if I'm correct in you saying earlier that you moved away for what, a year and a half?
About a year and a half, yes.
Year and a half. You lived in New Albany.
Yes.
And you said, now where were you working at the time? Was that when you were working first started Toyota?
I moved to New Albany when I first started Toyota.
Okay, yeah.
I was 5 minutes away from work.
Man, it just makes sense sometimes.
5 minutes away from work.
Sometimes it just makes sense. Yep.
And I missed home.
Hey, I don't, man, for me, I lived in Memphis for about a year. Loved it. Loved Memphis. Still love Memphis. I somehow, if you Google it, Tippah County is technically greater Memphis area.
Mm.
So still the kind of that grit grind feel when you're
Yeah.
in Memphis, you know, but it just wasn't home. I mean,
No.
it never was home, never felt like home. I made the most of it, but boy, when I crossed that line back into Tippah County, it was just like a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're here for a reason. We're not, you know, because oftentimes it really bothers me that people feel like they got stuck here. And I'm not, I mean, oftentimes the reason you're stuck is because of you, not because of a place.
Correct.
And you know, I've said this before, people who always say, I can't wait to leave this small town. Well, the small town may be saying we can't wait for you to leave unless you change your attitude. Like,
Right,
you know what I mean?
correct.
So that
Yeah.
being said, what are some characteristics of Tippah County you love? I mean, because oftentimes, especially growing up, you always heard negative of your town. But man, I think that there's incredible things in Tippah County that we should celebrate.
Well, first and foremost, as you can look and see, I love to eat.
Hey,
So when I moved to New Albany,
yeah.
when I moved to New Albany, back then I was single, and I was a mama's boy, and
Okay.
mama's cooking was in Tippah County.
Okay.
So I had to come back to close to where I could get a home cooked meal when I wanted to.
Oh, I know.
But on the serious side, I love Tippah County because of the close knit community we have.
Oh man.
You know, even if you don't know a person,
Sure.
if you see a family that's in need or a family going through something, far as like benefits or anything like that, people are awesome. They are just so willing to give freely of their time or their money,
Sure.
or donations. You know, and that's one thing I love about Tippah County. Another thing I love about Tippah County is this is home. This is where my mom grew up, my father
Sure.
grew up. All my family is here, just about. And
Now, here, I want to be sure on this, correct on this. You didn't go to Ripley, did you?
no, sir.
Okay. Where did you go to school?
I went to the best school in Tippah County, the Faulkner Eagles.
Oh, the Soar Eagles,
Yes,
man.
sir.
The home. I always say the home that Pig Prather built, huh?
Yes, sir.
Now, you related to Pig or no?
Distant.
Distant. Yeah, man. I grew up going to watch him at the Fire Ants with him and Rico McDonald, who we all know Rico McDonald's of Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. I know he'd be glad I put that in there for him. But every time I think about Faulkner, I always think about Pig Prather. My uncle said it when he was the coach at Ripley, Ricky Hamilton. He said if you ran right, Pig was there. You ran left, Pig was there too.
Yeah.
You ran up the middle, Pig was there too. Didn't matter where you ran. So, with that being said, I didn't mean to cut you off. What are some? I know you mentioned family and food and close knit. Maybe one or two other things, particularly on maybe on like living, like cost of living.
Oh, yes.
Things of that nature.
The cost of living here is very affordable.
Sure.
A house. Now I don't live in a mansion, but a house in my size in Tupelo or surrounding areas will probably be 3 times as much as it is in Tippah County. You know, and so the housing is affordable, and I love the country. You know, I'm a young guy, but I'm an old man at heart.
Man.
I love the slow pace, country style living, quiet, peaceful. I love it.
I couldn't imagine. You know, people in Atlanta or California, or LA, for instance. I flew into LAX one time. It's got its own zip code, and I was like, for goodness sake.
Yes.
And you know, and I thought DeSoto County was big and Memphis was big. It ain't nothing compared to LA. You know, and you know, this is something that is so overlooked, and we've said this time and time again on this show with different speakers. Is, you know, hey, if I want to, I can wake up in the morning. I mean, I can wake up in the morning and I can eat breakfast in Memphis. I can wake up in the morning and I can buy me a ticket tonight. I'll pay for it, costly. But this late, I could buy a ticket to California in LA, and if I can leave in the morning, I can be in LA by 2:00 and have dinner in LA. I can drive and have breakfast in Birmingham. I can drive and have lunch in Atlanta. I can be on the beach and have lunch in Destin. All these things that I can enjoy all the things that these places offer, quote unquote. But what you can't do is after 5 or 6 o'clock, you don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, just quiet. I mean, just even where I live. I mean, it's 1,500 square feet. You know, you buy that somewhere else, And it's 3 times what you would pay here,
Yes.
and then I live on an acre of land. So that cost of living piece is such a, and the way we live.
Right.
We can go enjoy your fast pace.
Yes.
I've been all the way to Mumbai, India. I get on Zoom calls with pastors in India right now, and we're 12 hours difference, and we can conversate and all those things. But I'm still in Ripley.
Yes.
I'm here, baby. This is my place. So, with that being said, oftentimes it's hard to describe. I know it is your hometown, and oftentimes, like I say, I hear people say things, and maybe because negative always extends, and the positive always never goes anywhere. Right. Maybe that might be it. But man, if somebody was like, say, for instance, you were on a business trip to I don't know, Ohio or California, and they were like, "Man, where did you grow up? Tell me about your hometown. What are some adjectives or traits you would say? This is Ripley. Here's some words I describe to say this is Ripley or Tippah County."
I would just say friendly, hospitable,
okay,
loving.
Man, absolutely.
One of my favorite places to go and visit is the mountains, Gatlinburg.
Oh, man,
I absolutely love the mountains. But it's nothing like when you come anywhere you go. You can travel to Gatlinburg, or I've been to Mexico, I've been to Cozumel, cruises, but it's nothing like when you see that welcome back to Mississippi, welcome to Tippah County.
I could kiss the ground.
Yes,
I could kiss the ground.
Man, I love going, but I love being back.
Man, I'm telling you, and that's such a, and all those things, we take them for granted.
Yes.
And like you said, like even in Gatlinburg, you love going to Gatlinburg. It just don't feel the same.
No,
and oftentimes, we always think the grass is greener on that other side. Until we get to that other side, and the problem is that same attitude we have is on that other side.
Right.
And that's something. So with that being said, you've been in Tippah County basically your whole life. And those are things, like you said, the reason I'm here is because of these things, these traits, and family, and friendly, and we work together, and it seems like, everyone knows everybody and looks out for one another. And those are traits we want to keep. We don't want those to change. We want to instill those to the next generation, the next generation, next generation. But with that being said, oftentimes, though, in smaller towns, there can be a sense of fossilizing. Like we don't want Ripley to change at all.
Right.
And that's just not the case. We want to see new things come in, and we want to see industry. So with that being said, what are some maybe one thing that because oftentimes we think nothing's happening until you see a picture of Tippah County 20 years ago, and you're like, whoa, well, this was a ghost town 20 years ago. Now it's a lot different. If you could in the next 20 years, what is one thing you'd like? I would really like to see that in Tippah County.
Well, not even in the next 20 years, maybe like within the near future, I would love to see something for the kids.
Sure, absolutely.
Something more for like young families to go out. You had to go to Tupelo, or you had to go to Oxford, you had to go to Memphis to have a family fun night. I would love to see something like that for the kids, and maybe like a nice, no offense to the Mexican restaurants, but like a nice sit-down Sunday buffet here in Tippah County, where you can have a good home-cooked country style meal.
It's interesting to me, and I so appreciate your heart, because that's one of the main reasons you're here. Is it's all centered around family.
Yes,
and that is such a. You talk to everybody in Tippah County. I'm gonna say 50% are going to name things that are family oriented and family driven. Yes. So that's a testament not only to you, but the culture at large. Right. Man, we enjoy our family, and we want to do things with our family. So, with that being said, as we kind of look to wrap up here, I know you've said things on the family side of things in the near future. I've messed up, so I'm just going to keep going. She'll edit this out. Let me think. I'm going to start back. So no, I totally agree on the family side, and that's something that is so needed in our community. And I personally think, just with the splash pad coming in at the park, I think there's some innovation happening there, and even in and around us. I think that this will look different in the next 5 to 10 years, and I believe that. And I believe that there's other people that feel like you, and me on that. So with that being said, to kind of wrap this up for the interview for the football game, they'll be at halftime, be a little bit shorter. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. You can watch all those on YouTube. With that being said, there's that. I just know that there's that person out there that's 41, 42 now, and hey, man, we don't fault you at all. You moved off to Atlanta. You moved off to California. You moved off up to the Northeast in Boston, or to Miami. And man, you've had a great time. But man, you miss home. You miss it. And now remote work is accessible as it is, and we're as transient people as we've ever been.
Right.
What would you say to that 41, 42-year-old that man loved Tippah County, but he just didn't, or he or she didn't see. And maybe there wasn't that remote work and accessibility like there is now.
Yes.
What would you say to them to say, hey, man, come on back. I think that there's a lot of opportunity around here.
Yeah.
Here's a place for you to live. You can drive to Memphis. You can drive to Toyota. But, man, you can live here and then still make good money here, or you can drive somewhere.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, like I said, I've been here all my life.
Sure.
And if anybody would want to come back, most people move out because they think we can't make a decent living in Tippah County.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is totally false.
Oh, 100%.
You can come here and you can start a small business, or you can do like I did. You can commute to Toyota. It's 45 minutes if I drive normal.
Sure.
If I'm running late, it's 35 to 30.
Yeah.
But you can make an honest living by living in Tippah County. You can the lifestyle here is amazing.
Sure.
A slow pace, no crime, not a whole lot of crime.
Sure.
No place is perfect, you
Yeah.
know. But for the most part, man, Tippah County it's gonna always be home.
It's just always going to be home.
If you lived here, or if you just want to come to a nice place where it's friendly and people are gonna know you and respect
and love your
you.
kids.
Yes, and what I like about Tippah County is, if they don't know you, they're going to know somebody that knows you.
They're going to know somebody that knows you.
And I preached a sermon one time, your name goes a long way.
It does.
And I'm getting blessed from people who knew me.
Exactly.
You
100%.
on side of the road and, hey, that's so-and-so's son.
So-and-so.
Let me stop and help. That's
exactly.
Tippah County.
That is Tippah County in a nutshell. And, we're going to keep going. But, man, we're so glad that you tuned in. If you would like to see more, hey, all these conversations are extended on YouTube. Please continue to track with us. But if not, hey, we want to say to all the Tippah County teams, man, keep trucking on, keep going. Faulkner, Walnut, Ripley. I don't think Pine Grove, Blue Mountain got football teams
Not yet.
yet. But hey, for those three teams, hey, keep fighting. But on that end, man, what's funny is, so I was in Memphis, and I loved Memphis, still do. I had some of the best bosses I ever had, some of the best friends I ever had. I worked with a guy, and funny to be said, his name was Sir Gregory Thornton. He was voted, he was a running back for Arkansas State. He was voted best name 4 years in a row in NCAA sports. But I'll never forget one time I was talking to a guy, and that same, I'm Tippah County to the bone. Yeah. And so I was talking to a guy and trying, I was getting to know people in Memphis. And I was like, hey man, what's your last name? And who's your granddad? And who's your dad? And who's your aunt, uncle? And the guy was kind of telling me some things. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I'm Austin. Nice to meet you. He walked away. I'll never forget this. That guy, my buddy, he said, man, I know what you're trying to do. He grew up in Brazil. He's like, brother, this isn't Tippah County. He's like, man, I know you, man. He's like, man, that might be what y'all do in Tippah County. But he's like, but man, Memphis, it's kind of a melting pot. Even though it's a smaller, bigger city, it's still a melting pot. He's like, that guy's from Brazil. He doesn't. But man, I was kind of like taken back. I was like, wait, I just knew everybody's granddad. I knew everybody. You know what I mean? So it's funny you even say that. Like you said, man, you'll hear somebody say something. You're like, do you know something? Man, that's my, no way, man. You tell him I said, hey, let's get this tire fixed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but with that being said, you have already said you make an honest, decent living. And you love Toyota. You've been there 13 years. You've been dependable, faithful. You've moved up. You there's even more room for you to move
Yes.
up. Because there is, and I did a talk with our juniors today. I just wanted them to start listing every job available. First of all, I had them name 10 advanced manufacturers in North Mississippi, and they could. I was pretty impressed. But then I started saying, "What do you think they do at Toyota?" And they said, "Well, they build cars." I said, "Well, yeah, they build cars, and there's people on the line." And I was like, "Do you think they have engineers?" "Well, yeah." And what do you think they have, like an upper management, a quality team, and do you think they may have nurses on hand, and do you think maybe they have an IT department, or and we just started going on because there's this idea, maybe I don't know why it is, but we think about these advanced manufacturers, and we almost think dead end job. Like, I can remember, and I just want to say this because I worked this summer at Ashley. I enjoyed working on the line. I saw Pee Wee.
You said you enjoyed working on the line.
I'm telling. Now
I have never heard anybody say they
I
enjoyed
did it for two and a half months. but this just as well as I do.
Yeah.
The job can be hard. But if you like the people you're working around,
sir.
It's a whole. Man, I worked with Pee Wee Prather. I don't know his first name. Everybody called him Pee Wee. I don't remember. Yeah.
Always known as Pee Wee.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday when I was running, man, and it was just like, we work together now. We're friends. But man, he's made a great living, building arms at Ashley, and man, done well, and got kids, and man, got a wife, and got a nice truck, and man, he's got some land, and man, he loves his job. He does great at his job, and and that's my thing is so to the kids particularly, because I know that kids will be seeing this. Man, speak to the endless opportunities at most of these industries in and around them in North Mississippi.
Yes. Well, speaking from Toyota, since I got a lot of experience at Toyota.
Oh yeah, 13 years, my goodness.
I started there as like I said, just a regular team member.
Sure, yeah.
And I can go as high as I want to go.
Oh, 100%.
And one thing about Toyota, if you apply yourself, you can go from just being a regular team member to being a manager or a senior manager.
100%.
They give you every opportunity to grow inside the company. And so that's basically in a nutshell,
And speak to this too, because once again, I'm going to show this conversation to our students at Ripley High School. Even speak to how Toyota invests in their employees for employment, for being promoted. Because I know I talked to we talked to Toyota the other day. I've got a young man. He said, "Hey, I want to go to work. I don't, I want to go to work." And I said, "That's great." I said, "But hey, understand this. College is not defined in my book as a BS or a BA. Like you did not go to college if you don't get a 4-year BS or BA degree. So understand this: Toyota will bring you in and they'll send you to ICC to do an industrial maintenance degree, and they'll pay for it. They'll take, and then you got job placement on the back end. So a little bit about. Speak to some of even the benefits of Toyota on that end.
On the benefit, like you said, they got an IT program and they got a maintenance program. They'll send you to ICC. They'll pay you while you're going to ICC, pay for your schooling, and on the back end, once you complete the program, you automatically got a high-paying job.
See, and that's what I told this young man. I'm like, hey, hear me say this. Man, I want you to go to work, but there's no sense in you not taking advantage of, and they want to train. They want to do more training for you, because any training is college, and college is training.
Right,
like, this idea that in a classroom is the only way is college, that's silly. If you can't take what you learned and apply it to real world life skills, how you work, I don't know what you call that.
Right.
So, and that's something that is, I mean, even from Toyota I've done a tour at Toyota, and Toyota doesn't pay me to say these things. I wish they would, but state of the art gym for their employees. I mean, you walk in there and you see the massage chairs, you see the vending machines.
They refer to us at Toyotas as industrial athletes.
That's right. I heard them say this.
Athletes.
Wait, hang on a second. Am I right in saying that they require you to work out the first?
Yeah, the first 4 weeks to 6 weeks.
They give you.
They pay you
to work out.
To work out 2 hours a day.
That's what I thought.
It's mandatory. You work out 2 hours a day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then not only that. I mean, one of the pieces that I hear in being a career coach, you're kind of in and around. workforce development conversations, particularly with Chris Lewellen and others. And one of the conversations from the north part of Mississippi to the southernest most part of Mississippi, it is childcare.
Yes.
Affordable childcare, availability, and now my goodness, Toyota the next 2 years, 3 years, year, they'll have a 24/7 fully paid for childcare. So not only does that not help the family, the mom and dad, I pay a pretty penny in childcare every month. That's my highest payment every month. Not only does that not help them out, but for the single mother, the single dad, what that does for them.
And Toyota, and that's like we talked about a while ago, Toyota is very family oriented.
Oh man.
And one of the big turnover rates we were having a lot of couples that moved in to work at Toyota who did not have people to watch their children.
Sure.
And that husband would have to be one shift and the wife had to be one shift. They never saw each other.
Oh yeah.
So they did a survey and they wanted to
alleviate the problem.
Yes.
So once again, you're seeing a employee first company.
Yes.
You guys are not just a number that you tap in or a badge. You are, would you say, an industrial athlete?
Industrial athlete.
I love that language.
And I know I hate to keep bringing the COVID thing. I hate to bring the COVID thing up, but when COVID hit, we never missed a paycheck. And
you know just as well as I know in Tippah County, when you show that kind of what's the word I'm looking? When you show that kind of commitment to me, boy, I'll run through a wall for you.
Yes.
You couldn't run me away after that. When you show me that you care about me and you care about all of us, from the janitor to the executive.
Yes.
That does something to me in Tippah County. That really does. So man, just kind of wrapping. I know we could talk all day, but with that being said, for the kid in high school, I was in a junior room today, and out of the 2 classes I was in, there was probably 20 kids in each, and probably 4 knew what they wanted to do. Yeah. And it was almost like this sense of like, oh, man, I need to figure it. Like, well, hang on a second, you're 17 years old. We let's start exploring things. Let's start connecting you, and let's start preparing you for this. But even like the young 20 person that maybe still like, I don't know what I want to do, because some days like I know I want to mentor kids, but that's in different capacities, and I'll do whatever I have to do. But what would be some advice you would give to, say, a 16 to 25-year-old about pursuing a career pathway?
If I could go back and talk to myself.
That's what I want to hear.
As a teenager?
Sure.
I would encourage myself to pick up a trade.
Oh, man.
Especially in Tippah County, we are short on electricians, HVAC, plumbing. You can start a landscaping business. Anything, just find a trade. Yes. And you can make a honest living.
Oh, 100%.
In Tippah County. And if you find something, don't so much look at how much you're going to pay, but just find something you're going to love doing.
100%.
Because if you go to work and you love doing what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Well, and just as well as I know, if you love what you do and you're good at what you do, the money will come.
Yes.
It will come. Yes. Like, just calm down.
Yes.
Like, and goodness, I don't want to chase a rabbit. But sometimes I talk to young people and they're like, man, I've been working 6 months here and I ain't got a raise. I'm like, I've known people that's worked 10 years and ain't got a raise. Calm down.
Yeah,
you know
coming,
what I mean? Yeah. You knew how much you signed on for.
Right.
So honor what you signed your name to. You know what I mean? And I promise you, if you need a raise, you won't have to say nothing. They'll come looking for you.
Yes.
Exactly. So, but with that being said, that's such that is such a good word, particularly on the trade side. And this is something that I encourage young people a lot. Because it is such encouragement to me to hear young people say, I want to be a plumber or an HVAC or whatever whatever trade that is, welder. But this is something I tell them all the time. I'm like, hey guys, that's great. There is probably a handful of those in Tippah County, and they've probably got about 15 years left in them, 10, 15 years, maybe less, maybe a little more. I would encourage you to go and say, I want to do anything you ask me to do. Because they're good. They're good at what they do.
Yes.
Learn from them, honor them, work hard for them, be early, stay late, always pick up the phone when they call, be dependable. Because I'm telling you, in that next 5, 10, 15 years when they retire,
You can take that business over.
You can take that business over. Not only that, say you're going to learn the ins and outs, and maybe you want to start your own. Maybe you just want to start scratch, start your own business. Well, guess what? When Shane Duncan's done one day being a plumber, and somebody calls him and says, "Hey, I need you to come." Hey, man, I retired. I'm on the beach with my wife right now, but hey, Tommy, he worked for me for 10 years. He did good work. Call him.
Yes.
I mean, and the list goes on and on. I mean, if you, that's why I encourage those young men. Yes, go to trade school. Those things are good, but man, get with somebody that's done it really well for a long time. Honor them, work hard for them, and I can assure you, if you help them retire well, they'll help you start well.
Right.
So it's just a piece. Well, hey, with that being said, Mr. Quentin, man, it's been such a joy to talk to you. I love your heart for Tippah County, and man, I'm just so excited to see these videos come to fruition, and I'm so excited to see across the spectrum, particularly the workforce, and even age-wise. And man, I'm thankful for you, and brother, just keep trucking on, man.
Thank you.
Did you know that every week radio reaches 90% of all people with disposable income? That's more than any other media. The fact is, radio is the #1 most effective and cost-effective ways to reach current and potential customers. If you have a business, service, or event you want to let folks know about, put it on the radio. If you want to tell our dedicated Shark listeners about your business or event, click advertise at shark102.3.com and put it on the radio.